The heaviest weight you lift all day is just that mental effort it takes to just start something.
This episode is about the friction you don't see, why starting feels hard, why consistency breaks, and what to remove next.
One of the things I've found is there are two vulnerable moments in somebody's fitness journey. The first one is getting started in your fitness journey, and the second is having to put the brakes on. So that's when you're in a groove and then you have to stop because of injury, life, some sort of family emergency and stuff like that. And the reason stopping feels so terrifying is because you know it is just a pain in the butt to start over again. So if it's a hard start, it's going to be just not easy to stay consistent.
I was just contending with this recently with somebody who is getting married soon, who has a lot going on in their life. So the other thing is that it's when the setbacks happen, it's very easy to beat yourself up, to be hard on yourself, to think I should be doing something. And I think that, you have to show yourself a little bit of, what's the term? Grace. You got to show yourself
Grace.
a little bit of leeway when these things happen and say, hey, real life is happening. You're not getting paid to go to the gym. You're trying to get better. You're doing this to improve physically, ability, conditioning, whatever it is, and understand that, progress isn't linear. You're going to have setbacks, but as long as you're committed, if we're going into woo-woo territory, I'm sorry, but as long as you're committed to your process, you will get back to it. And it's okay. There are going to be setbacks.
Absolutely. So welcome back to the Ready for More podcast, Strength is for Everybody. I'm Idi and I'm here with
Marc.
yours. All right. So last week we spoke about repeatability, making the thing you do actually be repeated. This week we're gonna go one layer deeper. So we're gonna be talking about friction, that invisible force that quietly and quickly kills your consistency and makes you blame yourself. What Marc was just talking about. So in today's episode, we are going to shift that blame away from you and we're going to shift it to your actual setup. If you've been beating yourself up and falling off, this episode is going to be for you. So it's going to take that huge weight off your shoulders. Let's call out the wrong diagnosis right out of the gate. When you fall off track, what's the story you tell yourself? You usually tell yourself, I don't have the motivation, I don't have the discipline, I don't have the willpower. And then
I'm
you
not
just
good enough.
pile on, you're not good enough. And then you have that snowball effect where it's just like, oh my, So here is what actually is going on. Your system or the system you created is just a bit too complicated. Or maybe you don't even have a system. It just takes too much time. It's just a pain in the butt to start. You aren't failing because you're weak. I know maybe you might be telling yourself that. You feeling because the setup is just not an optimal setup. What do you think?
I got nothing for you. That's it. You're on your own. Edie, so I have something to add to that. And at this point, maybe I should just plug the book in the description below, Atomic Habits, because there's something that you were talking about that made me think of the book. In the book, they talk about habit coupling. So if you don't have a system in place, if you feel like you're just trying to scramble and get things in wherever you can, say you wake up in the morning and it's your only time to work out. If you leave your clothes out, if you
well, not cutting you short, you're getting into the you're getting ahead of yourself. So let's talk about the first friction point. The setup that's going to get into what you were talking about. The first friction point is the setup cost. This is the physical stuff you have to do before starting your sweat session in the gym. So it's like something like finding your clothes, driving across town just to do a 45-minute session, dragging some sort of weight, your kettlebells or something like that. That is directly exactly what you were going to talk about.
Yeah, sorry. I was so eager to give everybody the solution to the problem. We didn't even talk about it yet. No, so look, I was saying about habit coupling. So if you know that in the morning there's friction, as we're saying, because you've got to get ready, then facilitate getting ready the night before. Get your clothes out. Get your car keys right next to your clothes. So whatever it is that you got to set up, when you wake up, you get your cup of coffee, everything's laid out. Boom, you're in the car, you go to the gym, you save time. Like you've coupled your clothes being ready with your working out the next morning, as opposed to I wake up and I'm just trying to scramble and do it. Every day you see your clothes sitting there, your car keys waiting for your, whatever, the keys to the gym, hey, now it's as soon as I get dressed and I pick up my keys, off to the gym I go. as you couple your habits, and this is like part of establishing a system for yourself. Just coupling these things together establishes a system of helping you get to the gym.
Yep. Every extra step is a hurdle. So every hurdle is an excuse for you to quit. Too many steps guarantees you're just not going to stay consistent.
Yeah,
So
I guess in conclusion, if there's friction in your getting to the gym, try to couple something else that you do with going to the gym, which is what I was talking about.
So the second friction point is similar to the first one, the decision fatigue. Every single choice you make before you train drains your battery. What should I do today? Especially if you're just going in willy-nilly. What should I do in my workout today? 3 sets, 5 sets. Am I really feeling up for this? Should I go heavy? Should I go light? By the time you figure all that out, you're mentally exhausted. It feels like you're planning some sort of like major whatever it is. So that's the friction we are talking about.
Oh, man, Edie, I think I might have a book to plug for every one of your points.
Go ahead, like you've always talk about the books. Now is the time for you to plug the books.
So
now we're talking about the books you always want to talk about.
In all fairness, I haven't read this one yet. It's on my to-do list. I'm aware of the concept of it. Looking forward to talking more about it. I think it's called The Paradox of Choice, something along those lines. If we put it in the description and it's the wrong title, we'll put the right one. But basically, when you have too many choices, you're paralyzed. You don't know what to choose, right? You have this huge selection of things to choose from. And as you simplify your choices, it becomes much easier to take action. When you have this many choices, you end up not taking action because it's just too overwhelming and frustrating. But as you simplify your choices to A, B, or C, it makes it much easier to take action on any one of those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So the third friction point is the time barrier. This is the ultimate trap for beginners. They never have time. I mean, I don't know what else they're doing in their life, but they literally never have time. I mean, we could make time, but for whatever reason, they can't make time. So they don't have an hour. So I'm just not going to do it. I mean, they convince themselves you need to be in the gym for 60 minutes. You only have 20 minutes. You do nothing. This is not a schedule problem. It is the excuse you make in your head that you don't have time. And I'm sure you see that all the time.
Not only do I see it, and I've heard it across more than a decade now.
I've lived it.
Yeah. No, well, dude,
you used to live it. Not anymore. For sure. I know. You make the time.
Well, here's the thing. I'm extremely time challenged right now with what I've got going on. So in between the clients and the setting up of our business and being a half-time stay-at-home dad, it leaves me in a place where I don't have a dedicated hour in the gym. What I've had to do is strategically tackle my goals. So what can I do at home, body weight, whatever, with the weights I've got here? What can I do in the gym? What can I do whenever? I've had to segment my workouts because I'm training for a goal and it's important that I keep making headway on those goals. But knowing that I do not have an hour at any given time, and this is definitely a crazy time in my life, it's come down to being strategic about what I do and when I do it. To your point, I think this can be a huge pitfall for people because if your mentality is, well, I can only do things if I've got 2 hours or an hour and a half, real life is going to happen. You may not have that. And you have to move strategically. You have to segment things as it makes sense for your life.
Yeah, I mean, I used to fall into that trap as well. I mean, when I was younger, I had all the time in the world. I spent like 2 hours in the gym. But again, we grew older and
life happens.
Life happens, and then we have to pretend or be adults. So now a lot of my clients often ask me, when do you work out? What time do you work out? Because they still have that mindset that you need a dedicated 45 minutes or an hour block. I always tell them, I literally train with my clients. So I would do 10 minutes of kettlebell swings. This client, I will do some pull-ups with this client. I'll do some pressing with this client. That is an entire workout because I cannot put a dedicated like 45 minutes to an hour session together. It's just not happening because as personal trainers in New York, we are all over the place. So we always run around. We just put that system in place and we just shifted our mindset to say baby workouts, and it still counts. So these baby workouts put
100%.
together, that is the big workout we're looking for.
You should look at it like this too. If you're challenged for time and you've got a bunch of different things you want to hit, then time is very limited. Then you should have a hierarchy of what is most important on your program. So if you have benching and squat and pull-ups and all these things, but you have it in your mind that, hey, I really want to work on getting a heavier bench, then if you've got time for only 1 or 2 of those things, make sure you prioritize the bench. It's okay if you miss the other things. There's the next day. You can always catch up on it, but try to prioritize what the goal is as opposed to thinking if I don't get everything in, then I'm just not a good human being. I'm wasting my own time. Focus on what your goals are. You create a hierarchy of what your goals are.
Yeah, just think of, say you have a bench day, you have a leg day or whatever. Your first exercise should be your main lift. Everything else is just icing on the cake. So today is going to be squat day. You do squats. That is it. There's no accessory. If you have extra time, then you're going to add these accessory exercises with your squat. But just keep your main one your main one. Everybody has time for just at least one main lift, providing that you warmed up properly, of course. So the fourth and final point is that mental resistance, that invisible friction. So sometimes the heaviest weight you lift all day is just that mental effort it takes to just start something. Maybe sometimes you put your clothes on the bed, you had your shoes by your bed, you actually got dressed, but it's still so mentally challenged just to, okay, now I have to actually go to the car. So sometimes that is the heaviest lift you have to lift all day. So, that dread, is that voice in your head trying to bargain with you to get out of your workout because it's just easier to just do nothing. And then you don't do anything. At the end of the day, you bash yourself. And then you repeat the same cycle again tomorrow. That is the cycle we want to get you out of.
I'll tell you this, when I'm in the gym, and Wednesday is my heaviest day. Wednesday is when I have a lot of things that I need to tackle in my program. I dread it sometimes. I look at it and I think, oh man, why start? This is the workout that's just going to go on forever. There's so much to do here. Finding a good entry ramp, right? Finding the right ramp onto the highway makes everything easier because there's that initial friction point where I don't want to do anything because I know what's ahead of me. And as I ramp my CNS up, as I warm up, then I become more willing to engage in the activity. So it's really, I think for me, many times about finding the right on-ramp. If I have heavy overhead pressing and I don't warm up and I don't do something to just get the body going and I go right into the overhead pressing, it winds up being a brutal entry point and less pleasant.
So that internal resistance does not mean you lack discipline. It's just the friction showing up as your emotion. Recognize it for what it is, and you can build that bridge to get over that emotion so you could start. So the internal resistance doesn't mean that you lack discipline. It's the friction showing up as an emotion. Recognize it for what it is, and then we could build that bridge so we could get over that emotion. So if it's hard to start, again, I'm going to repeat this. If it's hard to start, it's going to be hard to stay consistent. So we just need to start. If this episode relieves some pressure, good. That is the whole point. You're not broken. Your system just needs to have a little less friction. So, homework for the week. We're going to pick one and remove it. All right. So, for this week, we're going to lay out our clothes the night before. Okay. So, if you one of these people that like music in the gym, so we're going to preload our playlist. We're not going to get into the gym and then decide what playlist. That's just going to waste time. We're going to preload our playlist. Write down your workout. I know it's not like that 6-week microcycle. Just write your workout out the night before. Okay. Shorten the session. Make it a 20 to 30 minute session. These types of steps you're going to take the night before, these are all going to reduce your decisions.
I love it, Idi. Take us out.
Share this episode with someone who keeps blaming themselves for being inconsistent. Sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is tell them it is not your fault. Tag us your biggest friction point and what you're removing this week. Guys, make sure you remove something and tag us. Let us know.
All right, that's it for us this time, guys. Until next time, stay strong.
Stay strong.